Hello, students and friends. A warm welcome to the next session of Domains of Artificial Intelligence. In the previous video lecture, I have introduced to you what is AI, what are the different types of AI, the applications of AI, and now we have come to the fourth part of the Excite module, which deals with the domains of AI. Let us proceed further and try to understand which are the concepts which are there in the domains of AI. Now, for any computing system for that matter, data is very, very important. Now, this processing of data itself results in some kind of output. Now, if I correlate a computer with an AI system, how different it is or how similar it is, we'll try to understand. In computer terminology, we use the term input, process, and output, where a computer system takes the input with the help of keyboard or mouse or other input devices, processes it with the help of CPU, which is the brain of the computer, and then gives us the required output either in monitor or in the printer. Now, the same terminology, if we relate it to AI, it is input is nothing but the data that we give, processing is called as analysis over there, and the output that we get is called as what? It is called as the prediction. Proceeding further, keeping these things in mind, which are the three domains of AI we'll understand? The three domains are data, computer vision, and natural language processing. So you'll not get confused or overwhelmed with these terms, students. These are all the things that we know, but presented in a different way. The computer takes an input in the form of different types of data. That is what we are dealing it over here. So the three domains of AI are data, computer vision, and natural language processing. In this session, I'll give you a total insight about the domain, the first domain of AI, which is nothing but data. You must all have heard this term data before, isn't it? Yes, data is nothing but the raw facts or figures which we are using for giving the input to the computer. Now, these raw facts of information, it can be in any form, that is in set of numbers or characters or images, pictures in the form of audio or video, any such form. So all these things comprised together can be called as what? It can be called as data. So like any other computer system, an AI system also takes data. But this AI system has got a special capability. What is that? It can handle huge amounts of data, which the traditional database management systems are not able to handle. What does this AI system do and how is it different? These AI systems gather this huge amount of data rather than processing. That means we are using the different term now. Rather than processing, what does it do? It analyzes the data and tries to identify some trends or patterns which are available in it. So we can compare this example to the e-commerce website. So it is taking the e-commerce website is taking different types of data in terms of text, images, pictures, audio, video, everything. It analyzes all the customers' data and it identifies some trends or patterns like what are the customers wanting to buy, which product has got the maximum likes or dislikes among the particular product, which product is selling fast, if which product is given for a particular discount, what is the amount of profit that we can get. So like this, the AI system not only processes, so the term process is used in a different way here. It analyzes the data and tries to identify some trends or patterns in it. So we can say an AI system has better predictions happen with more amount of data. So more amount of data that is fed to an AI system, it gives better predictions. So in the previous lectures, we have already learned that for an AI system to work properly, it has to be trained. How it is trained? By giving some data. So if the data set is huge or very large, the prediction or the kind of patterns or the predictions that it is going to give, it is almost, we can say, 100% accuracy we are going to get. So an AI system which is fed with enormous amount of data can be used for which purposes? It can be used for business projections, identifying problems. So when I say identifying problems, it is not only related to business, it can be related to any kind of field, because previously we have studied in the applications that AI systems can be used under any field for that matter: education, business, e-commerce, then medical, then education, then for entertainment, for anything. So keeping those things in mind, these are the generalized things that I've given over here, that it can be used for better business projections, identifying problems, threats and opportunities, performance analysis, and addressing certain social issues. So we can say that the data is the new gold. Long time ago, when the computer system was introduced around 25, 30 years back, the computer system was itself considered to be a very important. Now, that has shifted, the trend has shifted because of the improvement in technology, because of the improvement in the generation of microprocessors. We have the 5th generation AI microprocessor, which are able to handle huge amounts of data. So we can conclude that data is the new gold. So proceeding further, let us understand few more terms related to data. Now, all of us are hearing this term, big data, isn't it? Big data means huge or enormous volume of data can be called as big data. So this type of data, that is big data, cannot be handled by the traditional databases and software techniques. So to handle those things, we require a special system, and that special system is nothing but AI system. So that concept is big data. So let us proceed further and understand how can we categorize a data to be a big data. So we have small data and big data, but for a data to become a big data, there should be 5 V's. If it categorizes or if it has all these 5 V's or properties, we can call them as big data. The first one is volume. Next, it is variety, velocity, veracity, and value. So there are 5 V's: volume, variety, velocity, veracity, and value. Few words you're already familiar, but few 1 or 2 new words are there, and how they are correlating to AI. Let us see further in the next slides. Now, as I told you, there are 5 ways. Volume. Volume refers to what? It refers to the scale or the big amount of data. Now, we are not talking in gigabytes or terabytes. We are talking in terms of exabytes, which is exponentially higher. Huge volumes of data generated every day. So that type of data, if it has got huge volume, we can call or categorize that data to be as a big data. Coming to variety, different forms of data, that is structured or unstructured. When I say different forms of data, it can be textual data, it can be image data, it can be audio data, it can be video data, real-time data. All the data which is in the structured as well as in the unstructured form comes under variety. Previous database systems were not able to handle this, but now AI systems have been designed in such a way because of technological improvements, microprocessor capacities, the speed of the computer, the memory storage of the computer have all increased. So it is able to store variety of data. Coming to velocity. Velocity is what? The speed. The data is generated very fast nowadays because most of the people are online. They're using internet in order to get some information and feed some information. For all these things, a lot of data is generated. For such data generation, there should be quick analysis also. So we can say big data has got the characteristic feature of velocity. Coming to veracity, this is a new term, I think. So veracity refers to confirmness or accuracy of data, whether it is trustworthy or not. We have huge amount of data, but sometimes they're not trustworthy. If big data is confirming or it is having certain accuracy or trustworthiness, we can call it as veracity. And the last one is which one? It is value. Adding some value to the data. That means finding certain patterns or correlations or trends. Then we can call that data also to be as what data? We can call it as a big data. So I think all of you have thoroughly understood what is the concept of big data. Now, in AI system, data collection and data selection is very important. Now, how is this data collected? We are saying that big data is coming, processing has to occur, or analysis has to occur. How is the data collected? This data is collected through online systems. We are using internet, we are using websites, we are using our smartphones, we are using social networking sites. We are feeding the data continuously, audio data, video data, textual data, in all forms we are feeding the data, either through laptops or through desktops or through interactive voice response systems or through smartphones or through social websites. All these places are the data collection centers. Now, after the data is collected, what happens? It checks whether it is relevant and it is suitable or not. If it is identified and arrangements are made to provide it as input to the AI system, just by data collection, it is not over. Whether that data is relevant, whether it is suitable, whether it is required for that particular analysis or patterns identification, all these things are done. So data selection process takes place and then it is fed as an input to the AI system. So if we correlate to input, processing, output, so the input is not direct over here. So data collection के बाद क्या होता है? Data selection is also done. So coming to the next concept, we have now once the data is collected or selected, we have to think of one more thing about the quality of data. That is very, very important. So sources of data collection can be either internal or external sources. Internal means within the organization. If the data is collected for testing or for analysis, then it is different. If data is collected from the huge population of a country or of entire world, then we call those sources as external sources. So sometimes the data that is collected will not be up to the mark. So what is required? Refining is also required. Not only selection. After selection, we have to refine also because we have to maintain certain quality in order to train the AI systems. If the quality is not maintained, we cannot expect good results from the AI system because it all depends on what we have fed, what we have trained, and then only we can expect that 100% accurate results can come from the AI systems. But there are certain challenges to ensure the data quality. What are the challenges now? As I've listed on the screen, we can say that sometimes it becomes difficult to determine what data is needed and whether it is needed or not. Sometimes we get huge amount of data. We have to categorize whether this data is required or not. At this point of time, whether it is required or not, all those things, it becomes very difficult. We need a team of people to decide all these things. Difficult to control the dynamic size of data. When I use the word dynamic, it means real time. Every millisecond, every nanosecond data is fed into the system. Take the example of our social networking site, especially Facebook and WhatsApp. Every second, huge amount of people are feeding the data, text data, pictures are getting uploaded, comments are being shared, likes and dislikes are loaded. So it is difficult to handle this amount of data. So if we have to handle this amount of data, the technology and the AI algorithms need to be updated dynamically for the changing data sets. Isn't it so? Next, coming to that, if this technology is there, investment should be higher to handle the expertise and the training part also. People who use this kind of system for analysis, trend pattern setting, for writing the algorithms, everything, we have to invest a lot amount of money. So investments is very higher. Next, investments in continuous updates if AI algorithms and processes of data collection. So if we have to update the algorithm, we need to train people. If we need to train people, we have to have better training facilities. We need to have the required technologies to do that. So at the end of all these things, we understand that if data is the big gold, then providing the correct data, ensuring the data quality, ensuring the data selection and everything requires lot amount of expertise, training and investments also. So that's it about the data. In the next 2 sessions, I'm going to discuss with you about computer vision and natural language processing. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe. Bye-bye.